My husband keeps getting more attractive and I don't like it.
Me, a 32-year-old female, and my husband, a 32-year-old male, have been together for 8 years, married for 5. I'm not ashamed to say I was the pretty one in our relationship when we were dating.
Before we got married, he was around 280 pounds and 5 feet 11 inches tall, didn't know how to choose clothes for himself. He hates shopping, and had a bald head. I fell in love with who he was as a person. Even though I never cared for his looks, I was secretly assured that he wouldn't cheat on me. I was cheated on in every single one of my relationships until he came along.
Into the second year of our marriage, his sister had to lose a ton of weight due to heart issues, and he started going to the gym with her 5 times a week to support her.
I was very supportive of him starting to exercise and thought it was very sweet of him to support his sister like that. With 2.5 years of hard work, they both lost a ton of weight. He specifically lost around 100 pounds, and it turns out he has very blessed genes.
I am talking about full-on abs and everything. Never knew a man can grow jawlines by losing weight. Even my, penis seemed to get bigger.
I was very proud of him and was pleasantly surprised by this. Then soon after, he got a promotion at work. He became head of his department, and his former boss advised that he should look more presentable as a representation of their department. My husband took his words to heart and turned to me for help. We went on a shopping spree and started to let his hair grow out. Well, again, turns out he has beautiful hair. By this time, my husband is a very attractive man.
Then, a month later, we went to the company's anniversary party with his co-workers.
There was one younger girl who gave him a kiss on the cheek while we were sitting together. I learned from his co-worker that most single women, even some of the married ones, are actively throwing themselves at him at his workplace. I noticed that women at that party were just swooning over my husband, and even worse, he just doesn't realize it.
Well, she is French. I thought French people are like that. I guess I'll try to keep my distance from her.
Honestly, it was a dumb response, but it's just so like him. I don't like how much attention he is getting. I feel like as soon as we get into a rough patch, if we get into it, there is a ton of women waiting to prey on him. I am scared that some of those women will affect him as he is pretty naive as a person. Note that he was everything I could ask for in marriage and has been a great, if not perfect husband for me over the years. I feel like such a piece of, well, a POS for wishing he stayed physically the same.
I laid my eyes on the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. A couple of weeks ago, I went to eat in NYC with a friend of mine.
I was taking the subway back to Grand Central since I live just outside the city, and I was gonna take the train back to my town.
Anyway, I hop on the train for about a 7-minute ride. The car was absolutely packed, but I was lucky enough to grab a seat since my legs were hurting from walking all day. I sat down, and when I looked up, that's when I saw her, sitting across the aisle from me. The most beautiful girl I have ever seen. She has this beautiful curly black hair that rolled down to shoulder length. She had AirPod Pro Maxes on. She was wearing this really cute brown hoodie. She wore blue denim jeans that were a straight fit. They had patches of dark blue denim stars around the shins to the ankles. She wore these white and kind of beige shoes that had big letters on the outside of the shoes, AIR, in a cloudy font. Her left leg was crossed over her right. Her leg swayed as the train bumped around. Despite catching all these little details, I probably looked at her for about 15 seconds total for the entire 7-minute trip. I was too embarrassed and stunned to look any further. The moment I saw her, I felt my eyes widen. The train and subway station suddenly looked a million times brighter. I felt the air in my lungs exit my body forcefully, and I let out a little gasp before catching myself. I tensed so hard and tried to catch my breath. I looked back up to make sure I wasn't tripping, but we made eye contact. For 0.3 seconds, we made eye contact, and in that time, I realized she was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen. Her face was unbelievably beautiful. I don't even think she had any makeup on, which only adds to her beauty. She looked me back in the eyes with what looked like a face of, "This guy is creeping me out." Her eyes, I swear, I could get lost in. Her skin was unbelievably clear. I could tell she takes care of herself and prioritizes hygiene and cleanliness. If she had cracked a single smile, I know I would have folded in half on the spot. Before this encounter, if I was ever asked to describe the most beautiful girl, I wouldn't be able to. If you were to ask me now, I could go on forever about this beautiful woman I saw on the train for only 7 minutes. She must have noticed me geeking. I've laid restless every night for weeks thinking about our encounter. I'm not going to sit here and say that there was definitely some tension between us or she was digging me too. Hell no. I like to give myself more credit than I deserve when it comes to my looks, but her beauty was unlike anything I could ever have even imagined. Anyway, she most definitely thought I was a creep, but I think I'm okay with that fact. Throughout the ride, I did my best to look cool. Do that typical thing a guy does when he tries to be impressive. I was looking side to side every couple of seconds to try and show my jawline, which I unfortunately do not have. Checking my phone in a cool way, just forcing off this cool guy presence. I don't know why I did. I most definitely looked like an idiot, but an idiot is exactly how she made me feel. We made eye contact several times throughout the ride. Maybe she knew I had fallen in love with her at first sight, or maybe she thought I was another creep. When we arrived at GCT, I figured I had bothered her enough with my unwarranted looks of infatuation. I exited out another door than her, and that was the last time I saw her. I think that's the most heartbreaking part, the fact that I know I'll never see her again, in any way, shape or form. I may have had a million problems in my life, but in that moment everything made sense. For the first time in my life, everything sang. When I lay restless at night thinking about her, I can only hope. I hope that she knows that she's beautiful. I hope that she hears it often from the people around her. As a broke, unemployed college student, paying for my own tuition and thinking I'd never get to experience any feelings of real love, that was the most intense feeling of anything I'd ever gotten to experience. And I'm so lucky that it was the feeling of love. My wife decided to bring a girlfriend into our marriage, and I don't know what to do. My 40-year-old male wife, 36-year-old female, has worked with a woman, girlfriend, 33-year-old female for a few years. A little backstory: we've been together 12 years and married 10 years. I knew she was bi when we started dating, but in the 12 years we've been together, it's never really come up. My wife started joking that I need a second wife a few months ago, but I didn't think much of it, just laughed it off. My wife would make the jokes and send me screenshots of her and girlfriend conversations, tell me I'm worth sharing, and basically sell girlfriend on me. I want to preface this. I love my wife, and am very attracted to her. I typically don't even look twice at other women, as I don't care much. When I was younger, I had a specific type, physically, of woman I was attracted to, and my wife isn't it. That doesn't matter to me anymore, as I grew out of that phase of wanting only that one type of woman. As you can imagine, girlfriend happens to be that specific type. Me and girlfriend barely interacted directly, and I preferred it that way. My life is pretty much where I want it to be. Dogs, house, decent job, no kids. Nothing against girlfriend. I just knew it could end up being a situation that was going to end badly. Recently, GF and I started to text a lot more through the urging of my wife. Now I've battled mental health issues most of my life. Turns out GF has had similar issues through hers. We've shared our traumas and experiences and have gotten a lot closer than I'm comfortable with. Interestingly, GF doesn't seem to be on board with the whole poly thing. I've seen the text messages between my wife and GF, and they talk about it often. My wife has gone into great detail outlining my likes and dislikes in the bedroom, while GF talks about the things she can do while my wife watches. The way GF talks to me doesn't suggest any of that. GF and I have good conversations, but it doesn't cross into flirting or anything romantic. It's very confusing. I'm getting mixed signals. Now, the big problem: I'm very attracted to GF. I wouldn't date her, but we would be very romantically compatible. But her personality is the gasoline to my fire. I know if I get more involved with GF, I'm going to end up breaking down. I have a very obsessive personality that I've worked very hard to overcome. GF is reversing all of that. I feel myself coming apart. I've explained this to my wife, but she really wants her best friend to be with me. She just thinks I'm overreacting and that having another woman would be good for me. I realize this is a stupid thing to write about. I don't really have friends to talk to. I just needed to get this out of my head.